Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the transfer show. It's our chance to have a look at the week's news in terms of transfers. Last week, we thought it was really starting to hot up. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
It sort of just plateaued
Massively.
We had a couple of big deals done, but this week, very little. Do you think that's because? I think that's because teams have actually come back to training now. A lot of the big teams, and they're all jetting away for their tours. Man United going to Australia and things like that. So it's just a week off on the transfer market.
Just literally name one team that's going away out of all of it.
Yeah.
I just think with players, some players are still away, aren't they? It's weird now. It's really difficult to judge when things are gonna. You should build up to a crescendo, didn't it? And like transfer deadline day was a big scramble. Now, I don't know. There's been a bit of change though, hasn't there? Obviously, Lampard's gone in at Chelsea, so they don't know whether they can buy or they can't. I mean, they got Kovacic, didn't he, last week? And Morata joined Atletico Madrid permanently and stuff like that. So these sort of settled down. Arsenal seem to have no money to really. Although saying that, William Saliba is very close to completing his move from St Etienne to Arsenal.
He's going to go back on loan though, isn't he?
I don't know, but it's a brilliant signing. If he goes back on loan, that's a great deal for St Etienne. But he'd be, I think, if I was Arsenal, I'd be keeping him. Trying to keep him there because they need centre-backs, don't they? But for one reason or another, it hasn't quite caught fire yet, has it?
No, it's so, there's a lot of potential moves and a lot of things that are bubbling under, and I suppose it just hasn't kicked on for any of the big clubs. I mean, the one that we've been talking about for weeks is Pogba. He's flew away with Manchester United to their tour of Australia. That's sort of, I don't know. Solskjaer's got back and he started talking about him in really high terms. He's saying the rumours are he's asking for one more year. He's saying there's no problem, there's no attitude. He's a really good professional. So they want to keep him. Pogba does want to come out. Raiola said the other day he wants to leave. But what I find about that, what I find interesting about that one actually is that one Pogba, no real suitor has emerged yet. No one's really come out from the other side and said, well, we want him. You know, with someone like Hazard, you knew straight away that Real Madrid wanted him, and he wanted to go. And Chelsea were left in a situation where they just had to take the money. But with Pogba, there's no one really saying, we want him. Juve have had a bit of a little dabble, but they've got 80 million midfielders. Real Madrid.
Well, there's a story today saying Real Madrid have got to move 6 players before they can bring Pogba in. So whether that's holding it just seems at the moment that there's a lot of teams want to do stuff, but it's a case of moving other people out first before they can really get stuck into what they want. So, I mean, I don't know whether is this FFP finally getting a hold of things or what? I mean,
do you know what it is? I know one thing I think it is though. I really do think it's an escalation of player power. I really do. I think that a lot of players, and we've had this problem, is a lot of players are sitting on big wages and they're not prepared to leave. They're not prepared to drop the wages. Because we're going into that FFP now, because UEFA are putting out the fines and they are putting out bans and things like that. Clubs are starting to take it really serious now, and there's gonna have to be some kind of shift, I think, in the way we do transfers. I've been looking at the NBA actually, and the way they do it, and the way that player power is just absolutely rife. I mean, you sign a contract there, you get massive wages, and then you leave at the end of it, or they pay whatever's left on the contract to get you out of it. And I don't know whether we're heading for that, but I just think players would like it to be like that, because we're sort of an impasse at the moment. We're at Everton, we're never gonna pay average players those kind of wages ever again. No. Because you can't get rid of the players. So maybe there's going to be this next couple of years where there are a lot of those players at a lot of clubs that aren't going to be on those wages. Maybe the structure of contracts are going to have to be different, going to come down to bonuses or things like that. Because it's not sustainable like it is. I think you just made a really good point when you said about clubs are finding it hard to get rid of those players. So those players are sitting there, whoever they are, big clubs, little clubs, whoever, on really good money, and the clubs don't want them there. And whatever those players might want to sit there, but no one's willing to offer them what they're on. So we're going to have to come to a more beneficial arrangement for both sides, I think, for the transfer market to move more freely every year, because it just, at the moment, it just doesn't seem to work for either the player or the club.
Yeah, I think it's right. I think the two sides to it are the clubs are starting to, and it may be to do with FFP. It may just be to do with clubs going, actually, we have to start thinking about how we're doing our business, because every year the wages go up, the transfer fees go up, and almost having money now. There's a lot of people have got money, so there's not as much need, certainly in the Premier League, there's not as much need to get to sell for big money. You know, Palace are asking for big money for Wilf Zaha. Leicester City are asking for big money for Harry Maguire because they've got money as well, but also because they're trying to, I suppose they're thinking, if we get big money for him, we can then go and buy a couple of players. If not, we'll keep our assets. Whereas, recent times, people have gone, well, he's an asset, we'll just have to sell him because he wants to go. Now clubs are going, well, the player was happy to sign the contract. That's one side of it. But the other side of it, like you say, is the player going, well, I'm earning all right money, I'm under no pressure here. You know, if someone else gives me that same money, I'll move, but otherwise, why should I? And we saw a bit of that on the Sunderland documentary with Jack Rodwell, really.
Yeah.
You know, whereas he was on big money and they were saying to him, please go, so we can sign 3 players for your wages. And he was like, well, why should I? You were happy to give me that contract. It hasn't worked out. Why should I leave?
I think football clubs...
I think there's a lot like that.
I think football clubs, but players more importantly, need to start getting more realistic about how their wages are, you know... If they come into a team when they're young, they shouldn't expect this massive contract straight away. And that should be universal, so that every player when they're young is on similar kind of money, and then they earn the right to be on big wages, essentially.
That's what it used to be.
That's gone out the window, hasn't it? And that's what's causing all the problems.
It's gone out the window because teams were scared to lose their bright young things, weren't they? That's why. So teams started going, we'll give you a new contract a year after having a contract, and it's on 3 times the money, and you're like...
But that's a problem on its own, isn't it? Because the rules were changed a few years ago for younger players, and we're seeing that this summer. There's rumours of Liverpool bringing in a 16-year-old from Fulham.
Well, he's going, isn't he?
For basically nothing. There's no compensation. So when the powers that be decided to remove that compensation, then that made it, like you just said, well, we'll go and get a 16, but we'll instantly reward them. So you're saying straight away to either football club, well, for a 16-year-old, well, you've got to give him a big contract, sit 16, or you're going to lose him, and whoever you lose him to are going to give him a big contract because they're not going to have to pay him.
He's got Elliott, isn't it, the kid of Fulham, and he's apparently signing a world record deal for a kid of 16. So we had that situation at Chelsea, didn't we, where one of their kids was on 40 grand a week or something and never played a game for the first team, and you're like, you're ruining those young players as well, because they're getting unrealistic. And you're removing a bit of the desire as well. Surely the hunger gets you there, and then you're rewarded. All of that seems to have gone out the game, and it's... I mean,
hopefully we have a change, because I think in the recent years there's just been an impasse, and we're seeing it this year. The systems don't tally up. Having FFP doesn't tally up with this.
No.
So you have got clubs like Barcelona and clubs like Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain, and who are looking at their squad going, you're never playing. We've got to get rid of you. And they're like, well, where do you want me to go? Where do you want me to go and have me on the same wages? So,
but it's mad that those clubs are having to sell as well, isn't it? It's showing its effect on everything.
We mentioned there Pogba. We don't know what's going to happen there, because Man United don't want to sell, and there aren't any clubs, as I said, that have put their head over the parapet. Another player we've been speaking about a lot in the last few weeks is Neymar. He was due back for pre-season this week for Paris Saint-Germain. He never quite made it. He told them he wasn't coming back. So it was like basically he was just like, well, I told you I wasn't coming back. And he was like, yeah, but we didn't agree to it. You just told us. So he hasn't come back. They're discussing what fine to give him. Apparently he's not going to get his monthly bonus. I mean, what is he getting a monthly bonus for in July anyway?
Share sale.
Breathing. So not a wage
Image
fine.
rights, probably.
His bonus is getting withheld apparently. He obviously wants to leave. Barcelona, obviously, we've been talking about for weeks, but apparently Real Madrid are also going to get involved in this, which would be very, very interesting, having Hazard and Neymar in the same squad. How would that work?
I don't see him going to Real. I think he'll go to Barca. I think he enjoyed his time at Barca, but there was that wanting to be the main man was a bit of frustration because he wasn't. Whereas if he went back now, Lionel Messi's 32. He's still amazing, of course he is, but I think there'll be more onus on Neymar.
But that was an example of wanting something too quick.
Yeah.
He was always going to become the main man at Barcelona, but he just had to bide his time. Like anything, like in any job, you bide your time till it's your time to take over from the person. And for me, I think he's wasted the last 2 years at Paris Saint-Germain. I think he's absolutely wasted them. And I don't think he's got better. I think he's not gone on and won anything really, apart from the French league, which you'd expect anyway. We've just watched Brazil win the Copa America without him. I just think he's wasted. He's made a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. He's wasted a lot of money. Probably has wasted a lot of money. Made a lot of money, but I think his career would be in a much healthier place if he'd stayed.
I think Barcelona would have been in a much healthier place if he'd have stayed, though. I don't think the deal suited either of them. They didn't want to sell him anyway, did they, to be fair? They got a big £200 million for him, and he went there on bucket loads of money and all that. But you're right, he's not really kicked on. He's had the experience of playing in France, but so, now he sees himself in a position. See, that's another thing for him, isn't it? He wants to go to Barcelona, and he's got to wait for all kinds of things to fall into place now to get there. He's on big money at PSG, so it's not like he's got the pick of a lot of clubs unless he takes a massive pay cut. So he's there needs to be some of these players need to.
What's mad about this? So this is an ongoing saga because we've got the whole Griezmann situation which hasn't been sorted out.
No, which is mad.
I mean, apparently it should have been sorted or will the 10th. When's the 10th?
It was yesterday.
There you go. It was yesterday. It was supposed to be sorted out on the 10th. It hasn't been. So they're in dispute with him over why he hasn't been back to training.
He hasn't gone back.
So it's all these things that are just.
Everyone's in limbo. Not everyone, but a lot of them.
They're just all sitting, waiting for things to drop into place. But clubs, I mean, there's going to be fire sales everywhere.
Well, the fella on there is in limbo, isn't he? Gareth
Bale, he's another one.
People are talking about United. People are talking about Arsenal, but
China now as well.
China because of the money.
Yeah.
Where if you look for him, Real Madrid have said he's not going on loan. It's a buy or we'll keep him. He's on big money. To get him, you'd still have to pay big money. He's 29. His injury record hasn't been great of late. Who's going to pay the money he's on for a 29-year-old if you're not sure what you're going to get off him? There'll be a few clubs who'd take him on loan and have a go at him, see if he could, spares me. I don't know.
Things have really shifted, haven't they?
But things have moved now, and he's left, and he might be one that goes late on.
So, I mean, that could kick off in the next couple of weeks, and if it does, I think there'll be a fire sale at Barcelona,
and
at Real. Even Paris Saint-Germain, there might need to be a bit of a fire sale because they might have to reprioritise what they're doing.
Well, Leonardo's come in, hasn't he? Yeah. And him and Tuchel are apparently a little bit apart on what they think. But Leonardo came out yesterday and said it's not a given that Mbappe's going to stay. So you're like, well, you'd own it. The man who owns the thing is saying he's not going anywhere. He's the face of PSG for the next 5 years. And you got the director of football going, we might sell him. And well, he's still got 4 years left.
I think Leonardo's a bit more realistic in terms of Mbappe. If things don't move on the way Mbappe wants them to, I know he's only young, but if they don't, then he will want to leave. But Real Madrid, he's got Real Madrid written all over him. He has. He's got Real Madrid.
It's all mad.
There's a Dan links there as well.
Well, PSG apparently are monitoring the Griezmann thing because...
Well, that's it. I think Paris Saint-Germain needs to start looking at it and thinking, we need to build a team, not round superstar individuals, but build a team that gets us to where we want to go. I think that's been there. They've bought these superstars to raise the profile, and you can understand that. Like, you go back 4, 5, 6 years. Paris Saint-Germain were just another French team with a lot of money, of course. But they've elevated themselves and they've become a little bit more now, and commercially they're getting big, and they've got these tie-ins with Jordan and all these things. So they're becoming a brand, a name in the game. So, but I think they've got to start looking at it and go, we need to just build a team and just get rid of all these superstars. Griezmann would be a really good start. Griezmann, who's a World Cup winner, in the peak years of his career, would fit in brilliantly there. But because for me, if Neymar goes, and I know they've got Mbappe, so you've got a ready-made star there, with French on the World Cup. Bring another one on the other side like Griezmann. Yeah. Then you've got genuine players there that build a side, and for me, I think that's the way they need to start looking at it. So
definitely, but again, we're just waiting, aren't we? We're on the thing where you're waiting for one. It's almost like ducks in a row, isn't it? With some of the clubs, one will start and it'll domino effect, won't it? I mean, Leicester City, they brought Tielemans in for 40 million quid, took the option up on him. They've spent a fair bit of money with Perez. They got Perez last week, didn't he, for 30 million, so they spent 70 million. Some people are saying they're spending the Maguire money. But then again, if no one comes in for Maguire, I mean, do you see him going to Man City?
No, I can see him go to Man United, though.
Do you?
I can see them paying the money for him.
Late on.
I don't know late on, but
tour, aren't they? So.
I don't know about late on, but they really need a centre back, and they don't seem to be looking anywhere else. So
he's apparently said he's told Leicester he wants to leave.
Yeah, definitely.
And apparently they're looking at Lewis Dunk.
Yeah, it's not an ideal situation. So. But I'd say, I mean, there's a lot of those ones that we spoke about Arsenal earlier with Zaha. They want him, but they haven't got the money to go and get him. They've offered they've offered players to go there. Palace are not interested. They don't want other people's, players, they want players that they want, which is what the money would get them. They've already sold Wan-Bissaka, so to sell the crown jewel, they need to go out and buy good players. So, but again, Arsenal, they haven't got they've got targets, but they haven't got the money to get the targets.
That's why if they do get Saliba and he goes back, it doesn't really make sense. I mean, I don't know what the down payment is.
Well, maybe that's the point, though.
The down payment might be 5 million, and they can swallow that cost and pay the rest next year. I don't know, but they need a centre back desperately. They're linked with Malcolm, who Everton are linked with, but they haven't got the money to buy him. They want Zaha, but they can't buy him at the moment unless. So they're in a little bit of a situation, aren't they, where they might be waiting for a couple of bids for Ferreira or something like that, and they think, well, we can lose him, and that money will get us him. But
they're flying out to America. They're flying out without Koscielny, who wants to leave. He's in the last year of his deal, and he wants to be released to go free to France. So
does he?
That's nice for him, isn't it? So they're flying over to America with that hanging over their head. As you mentioned, Zaha's still in the African nations. He scored the goal of the day. He's been left out the Crystal Palace away kit launch, which is weird considering he is the absolute crown jewel for them. To be left off the poster, that is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, but like you just said, if he's away,
that would have been.
But I know they can photo.
That would have been done a long time ago, wouldn't it? You'd have that done, wouldn't you? You'd have that done. So, again, we're all waiting for that to happen. If that happens, then Palace can go and buy players. And
they're interested in Adam Ola-Luckman, aren't they? But he's going to Leipzig, and they look like they've not fronted.
They're missing out on targets. If they're missing out on targets, they're going to turn around to Arsenal and go, well, you either pay us or you don't.
Yeah.
And because we want to go and buy players and we're missing out on them. So if we're not prepared to sell them later on when we can't buy anyone. So that's why it's interesting, especially in England with only a month to go. Obviously, Europe, it's later. I just wonder whether this year, I know last year we sort of got away with it. And I'm all for the window shutting, no problem with that.
Yeah.
I just wonder whether this year it might be a little bit more interesting. You know, but I mean,
everything just seems at the moment like it's, for a lot of clubs, it's ground to a halt, doesn't it? Everyone's like, who blinks
the gears
first?
have just stopped, haven't
Almost.
they? Let's move on to West Ham. They're struggling to bring in strikers. They tried to bring in, well, they wanted Maxi Gomez. They met his buyout. He wants to go to Valencia. That's not done yet, but it looks like he was going to Valencia. So they turned their attentions to Germany.
Seb Haller.
They bid for him. Apparently the bid was accepted and the player has rejected them. They've gone back for Maxi Gomez to see if they can get something done. But as of yet, there's nothing happening. So they're a classic case, aren't they, in the Premier League, with a club that want to do something, have ambitions of doing something. Of putting it out there, you know, we'll bid for this player or that player, but the players just don't want to come because they want Champions League football.
Yeah, I suppose you've got to. The money will get you a lot of players. They will, because players are greedy.
Yeah,
let's be honest. But there's also a situation where it's level of player that you can get, and it's the project, isn't it? Whether people are interested in your project. I don't know what West Ham are selling when they go to these players. I don't know whether the players look and go, well, they were 10th last year, not interested. Who knows? Because some players you can still get because of the Premier League's a big pull. But those two players in particular might have their own career paths made up. You know, Seb Haller might be looking and going, well, you've just gone all out for Maxi Gomez and it's all over the press. So now you're coming for me. Yeah.
Do you think, though, part of me does think that, I'm not saying West Ham haven't bid for these players, but do you think there might be a case of, well, if we make a lot of noise, we'll satisfy our fan base because we're trying to sign them, where maybe other clubs would go in for a bid without the attention of the press or without making it public, get knocked back and then walk away and go, well, we tried, but we don't want to make a big deal of it. Whereas West Ham seem to like to shout about the fact that they are, you know, make it very public that you know, you're trying to bring players in, where that screams to me that you're just trying to satisfy the fans' need for players.
It's hard to say, isn't it? Because they wanted Andre Gomez and they couldn't get him. But then he went and bought Fornals in, didn't he? Pablo Fornals. So they did go and buy a midfield player for a similar amount of money. So it is difficult to say that they're just doing it to court attention and to basically say to the fans, we are trying. I don't know if they've met an asking price and the club has said they have met it, then they must have done, mustn't they? I believe the reason why the first thing with Gomez didn't go well was that Celta Vigo were like, the structure of that deal is pathetic. You're not paying us £3 million a year for 40 years, or so, you know, and one of them. So, I mean, there is that. There is that. You can go to a club and go, we'll pay for Neymar, but we'll give you like £1 a week or something, you know, 30% off on the shop. I don't know, but it's difficult to say that they're doing that. I feel like they are, because they need a centre forward. They've lost Andy Carroll, whether he's a big loss or not. Andy Carroll's gone. Arnautovic has gone the other day, so they probably have got money.
I'm not saying they haven't got money. I'm not saying they haven't got money.
I know what you mean.
I'm saying that some clubs would do that, would put the bid in quietly, and then when there's something to talk about, i.e. they're signing them, then they make it public.
The problem you've got when you shout about it is it brings attention to it from every angle. So that's what I'm trying to get at with Seb Haller. If they're shouting about Maxi Gomez everywhere and you're Sebastian Haller, and then they come to you, you're thinking, well, why wasn't I your first choice?
Yeah, definitely.
And then I'm not going to go to a club that is in a little bit of turmoil almost if I'm not your first choice. Some players will. Some players will go, well, I'll take my chance, all right. I understand there's different options, but maybe he just looks and thinks he can do better.
Another club in claret and blue, Aston Villa. They have made a couple of signings. So they brought in Tyrone Mings from Bournemouth, who was on loan last season. They paid 26 million for him.
Yeah.
And they've also brought Konza in.
Esri Konza, yeah.
No, so they've gone for defence, trying to get the defence sorted. Couple of rumours about goalkeepers. They were looking at the Stoke goalkeeper.
Jack Butland.
Wouldn't
pay the money though.
Wouldn't pay the money. And now they're looking at the Burnley goalkeeper, and I can't remember
Nick Pope.
No.
Tom Heaton.
Tom Heaton apparently now. So obviously they're looking to get their back four sorted for next season, which is a good place to start actually.
Got to.
You know, but 26 million for Mings, a player who's in the 4 years of being at Bournemouth played a handful of games and yet £26 million.
He went for the Bournemouth bought him for big money, didn't he? And he got an injury immediately, didn't he? He was out for the season straight away. I don't think he's ever recovered properly. Not well enough to get in Bournemouth side. But he'd done well at Villa, and loads of Villa fans were made up that he kept him. So I suppose it's a bit like a Gomez for us, or if we got Zuma. If you get a player in and he does really well, you think, well, he knows the club. We know what we're getting from him. The Premier League is different to the Championship.
I do find it interesting, though. This is Aston Villa, who this time last year were on the verge of collapse, essentially, and now this summer they're paying 26 million.
But they've got, I suppose, for them, if they've cut their cloth accordingly in the Championship.
They didn't, did they? I know they got a new owner, but this is the.
Well, they're going to get 130 million.
But this is the thing, though, isn't this? Is the thing about the Premier League? It's like clubs come in and immediately, it's like the reason why they were skint and nearly went bust was because of these reasons.
Well, what did he? Yeah, then.
No, I know what you're going to say.
Difficult. What did he do? Did he do what Huddersfield did, which was, and last year, teams like Cardiff tried to do.
Fulham.
No, but Fulham Fulham went the other way. Fulham spent 115 million and were horrendous because they ripped the team up. They brought players in on big money who didn't suit them and ended up going down. Cardiff didn't really do anything and just relied on what they had, and it nearly worked for them. And obviously if Emiliano Sala, that tragedy wouldn't have happened. Who knows? They might have stayed up. They weren't that far away at the end. Huddersfield hadn't spent a little bit of money in the first season and stayed up, and then second season didn't really spend much and ended up going down. So what did he do? Did he just come up and go, we'll just go with what we've got and hope that it's good enough? Or did he go, we're Aston Villa, we want to try and have enough to hang on? I think the problem that a lot of clubs make is they have these ideas of grandeur when they get promoted, like Fulham did last year. Wolves were already established, but it might be come back and bite me. I don't think they'll have as good a season this season. They were brilliant, but they're the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah, they're massively the
exception.
What
you try to do when you get promoted is you should try to just stay in for that season and then do what the likes of Bournemouth did and Brighton have done. Establish yourself.
Bringing in Mings, that's a player they already had. It's just the money just seems to be mad.
But we were saying the other day, them deals now, that's like the standard Premier League deal now, isn't it?
Well, let's round off sort of something we were talking about before in terms of young players. West Brom have lost a young player, Louis Barry. I don't think he's Gareth's son. He probably could be, couldn't he?
Yeah, quite easily.
He's 16-year-old and he's gone to Barcelona, and there's nothing West Brom can do about it. It's interesting because 15 odd years ago, players like Fabregas were leaving Barcelona to come to the Premier League, and there's very little there's nothing Barcelona could do about it. So it's gone the other way now. So good luck to there's talent out there, and the likes of Barcelona are looking at it. Barcelona might be using their head and think, well, in 3 years we'll sell them back to a Premier League club for really good money.
Well, there's a couple of kids who've gone over the last couple of years to Barca, haven't they? And I remember there was a kid about 3 years ago who was about 12, blonde-haired kid who everyone was after. I don't know what's happened to him, but he went about, and it was big news. And his dad was like, well, it's Barcelona, and even if he goes for 2 years and comes back, he'll have had that experience. So I don't know I can't remember his name, and I don't know what he's done, if he's done anything. Maybe he's at La Mesa and he's boss, but for Louis Barry,
good luck to him.
You look at it and go, it's Barcelona. At the end of the day, if he's good enough, he's obviously caught their attention somehow, hasn't he? So he might be a really good player, and he might go there and thrive, or like you say, he might. In a couple of years, he's still going to be an attractive proposition because he'll be 18, 19 at Barcelona, so clubs will go, tell you what, we'll take a chance on him. Who knows, he could be the next Messi.
He could be. You know, there you go. Let us know your thoughts, anything we spoke about, any of the transfers, anything that we, you know, what's holding it up?
What do you think, just before we finish, what about the likes of Liverpool, who haven't really done any business?
What did he do? Who did he bring in?
It's tough for them, isn't it, when you look at it, because it's how you boost that squad that's got 97 points and won the Champions League. How do you make it better without? Is there are they a little bit like Spurs at a lesser level of, if you take something out of it, it mightn't be as good? Because I think that's what Spurs have suffered with. Liverpool are on a better level.
I think what Liverpool have to do.
They're on a better
I think what Liverpool have to do is replace some of the
bench
squad players. So improve on the Lallana, improve on Shaqiri.
Yeah.
That's for me what they need to do.
Yeah.
You know, the fullbacks, get better replacements for the fullbacks,
in case they're missing.
You know, things like that. And I think that's where Liverpool improve. But other than that, I don't know. They'd have to go and get the very best talents, and as we've seen, it's not easy to do that. So, let us know your thoughts in the comments on anything we've spoke about. When do you think the transfer market will start really kicking in? Give this video a like, please. Helps the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want more great videos, join us on Patreon. See you later.